The house that eats time. You ever drive through a town so small it doesn't even make the map? Yeah, that kind of place. The kind of place where folks still wave from porches and the loudest sound after dark is the hum of the power lines. That's where I grew up, Harlow, Maine. A nice enough town, if you don't count the house on Ravens End Road. You could drive right past it and not notice much. Just a sagging porch, windows fogged from the inside, and a mailbox rusted to the bone. But if you stood real still, you'd swear you could hear it breathe. Not the wind, not the trees creaking. Something else. A low sigh that seemed to come from deep in the wood and stone, like the house itself was dreaming. We used to dare each other to touch its fence, just a touch. That's all it took to prove you weren't afraid. Some said a family lived there once. A husband, a wife, a little girl with red ribbons in her hair. Others said the whole thing just appeared one night after a storm, standing where there hadn't been a single brick before. But every kid in Harlow knew the same story. If you go inside, you don't come out the same age you went in. We laughed about it, of course. Kids always laugh at the dark until it looks back. I was 17 the night I stopped laughing. The night I saw the front door open, slow and polite, like it had been waiting for me. And I swear to you, in the amber light spilling through that doorway, the air shimmered like time itself was bending, reaching out its hand. That's where it all began. I wasn't planning to go in. I swear I wasn't. But when my mom disappeared that winter, left for work, never came back, something inside me cracked open like thin ice under too much weight. The police said maybe she'd run off. My friends said maybe she'd lost her mind. But I knew better. She loved me too much to just vanish into the cold. After a while, though, the searchlights faded. The posters curled on telephone poles. The voices stopped asking how I was holding up. And then came the whispers, the ones that always ended with the same words, Ravens End Road. That old house started lighting up again. Not bright, just a dim pulsing glow that crawled through the curtains like a heartbeat. Every night, a little stronger. And every night, I swore I could hear something in the wind, something that knew my name. So one night I went, couldn't tell you what I was expecting. Closure, maybe, or madness. But the snow on the porch was untouched, no prints but mine. When I stepped inside, the air pressed down on me, thick, sweet, metallic, like the taste of a penny. The walls whispered with a sound that wasn't quite voices, more like the turning of unseen gears. Then I saw them, clocks, hundreds, thousands, hanging from every inch of wall. Grandfather clocks, pocket watches, kitchen timers, even a sundial mounted right in the middle of the floor. And every single one was wrong. Hours apart, years apart, seconds spinning forward and backward at once. The hum got louder. And in the middle of the parlor, draped neatly over a wooden chair, was my mother's coat, still warm. That's when I felt it, the floorboards shifting beneath me, not creaking, but breathing. In and out, slow and patient. I stumbled back, but the door had already closed. The knobs were gone, swallowed by the wall like they'd never existed. I heard a voice then, not loud, not even human. More like a whisper curling up from inside my bones. She's here, it said, but time costs something. The air thickened, the clocks began to sink, every tick now beating in time with my racing heart. That's when I realized the house wasn't haunted. It was hungry, and it had just started to feed. I wasn't planning to go in, I swear I wasn't. But when my mom disappeared that winter, left for work, never came back, something inside me broke clean through. The cops said she probably ran. The neighbors said she'd lost herself, but I knew she hadn't run anywhere. Not from me. Still, the nights stretched long and hollow. Every time I shut my eyes, I saw that flicker up on Ravens End Road, just a pulse of amber behind the curtains, like someone breathing light. The house was watching me, waiting. So one night I went. The snow was fresh, no tracks but mine. The closer I got, the quieter everything became, until even the wind seemed to hold its breath. When I crossed the porch, the air thickened, warm, syrupy, strange. Inside, the first thing I noticed was the sound. Not silence, never that, but a low, steady humming like a hive of bees buried deep beneath the floorboards. Then I saw them. Clocks, hundreds of them. Grandfather clocks leaning against the walls, wristwatches nailed in crooked rows, hourglasses perched on mantles, each one ticking its own rhythm, some too fast, some backwards, some not at all. A storm of time trapped in one place. And in the center of the parlor, my mother's coat, folded neatly over a chair, still warm. I whispered her name. The hum changed pitch. The clocks began to pulse together, their ticks falling into one perfect heartbeat. The floor beneath me rose and fell, slow, deliberate, alive, wood groaning like lungs drawing air. The front door slammed itself shut. Every clock hand froze. A voice, not loud, not from any direction, slid through the air like smoke. She's here, but she's not yours anymore. I tried to run, but the hallway stretched like taffy, every step pulling me farther from where I'd been. Photographs along the wall showed faces I almost recognized, people aging and unaging in every frame. That's when I understood. The house didn't haunt time, it consumed it, and I had just stepped onto its tongue. I ran, or thought I did. The floor stretched and rippled beneath my feet like water. Every hallway bent back on itself, every door led somewhere I'd already been. The house wasn't just alive, it was awake, and it was angry I'd come this far. The ticking rose to a scream. Clocks burst from the walls, gears and springs raining like metallic rain. Glass faces shattered in 1,000 tiny suns, each one flashing an image, children, men, women, frozen mid-scream as their hours drained away. Then I saw her, my mother. She stood at the end of the hall, her face pale, her eyes calm in the chaos, hands folded in front of her like she was waiting for a bus, not trapped in the belly of something ancient and ravenous. "Mom," I gasped, "we have to go." But she didn't move, didn't even flinch as the floorboards pulsed around her ankles. "Time doesn't stop here," she said softly. "It feeds. It's been feeding since the day I walked in." Behind her, the walls began to curl inward, like ribs closing around a heart. The light dimmed to a sickly gold. The hum became a roar. I reached for her, but my arm felt heavy, dragging through molasses. Every second I spent there stole something from me: warmth, youth, memory. I could feel my life leaking into the air. She shook her head. "You can't save me without taking my place." And I knew she was right. The house demanded balance. It wanted someone new to keep its clocks turning. The floor beneath her feet began to split open, a glowing pit filled with spinning gears and drifting hours. Her face softened, proud and heartbroken all at once. "Let me go," she whispered. But I couldn't. I stepped forward instead. One step, then another, each one older than the last. My fingers brushed hers, warm, real, trembling. The air went still. The clock stopped. The house exhaled. And everything went dark. No sound, no pain. Just a moment stretched forever, my heartbeat echoing once, twice, before fading into the hum of 1,000 ticking clocks, finding perfect rhythm again. I'd given it what it wanted. And somewhere outside, I swear, I heard the front door open. When I woke, there was sunlight, real sunlight, pouring through the cracks in the boards. For a second, I thought I'd made it out, that maybe the house had spat me back out, sick of the taste. Then I saw her, my mom, standing in the yard, wrapped in a coat I hadn't seen in years, face tilted toward the house, tears shining in the morning light. She was calling my name, over and over. But her voice came through like a distant radio, faint, distorted, warping in and out of time. I tried to answer. I screamed until my throat tore, but no sound left my mouth. The glass between us rippled like the surface of a lake, and I realized what I was looking through wasn't a window at all. It was time, warped and slow and thick. The house was quiet now. The clocks had gone still. For the first time, the air didn't hum. It breathed softly like it was content. She touched the doorknob, hesitated. For a heartbeat, I thought she might come back in. God, I wanted her to. But then she whispered something. Maybe a thank you, maybe a goodbye, and turned away. Years passed in minutes. Or maybe minutes passed in years. It's hard to tell here. Sometimes when the world outslashes bright through the dusty glass, I see her older now, silver hair catching the sun, grandkids tumbling in the yard. They laugh the way I used to. They don't look at the house much. People in Harlow don't anymore. They just drive past a little faster than they mean to. But every so often, a kid dares another to touch the fence. And I watch. I always watch. I can't move far from the window. That's where the house likes me best, still silent, a shadow in the glass. And when the night deepens and the town goes quiet, I hear it again, the faint hum of gears turning beneath the floorboards. The house is waiting, always waiting. And when the next door opens, when the next brave soul steps inside, I'll be the one standing in the hall this time, smiling, reaching out my hand, They say the house is abandoned again. The boards nailed tight, the windows blind with dust. The mail piles up, untouched, and the grass grows tall enough to swallow your shoes if you stand still too long. But even now, after all these years, kids still dare each other to touch the fence. They laugh, shove, pretend they're not afraid. The brave ones get close enough to feel the air change. They say it smells like iron and rain, that the shadows move on their own. No one stays long. Still, sometimes if you listen close, you'll hear it. A single clock ticking somewhere deep inside the walls. Just one, steady and patient. That's me, keeping time, waiting. The house doesn't hunger the way it used to. It rests between meals, dreaming of footsteps and lost hearts. And I wait with it, because that's what we do here. Wait. For the desperate, the grieving, the ones who can't let go. Someone always comes back to Harlow. Someone always thinks they can beat time. And when they do, the front door will open again. Slow, polite, welcoming. The air will shimmer, golden and strange, and I'll be there, standing in the hall, a shadow where a boy used to be. I won't mean to scare them. I'll just reach out my hand the way my mother once did, because every ending in this house is only another beginning. And the clocks, they always start again. A soft ticking fades into silence. If you made it this far, thank you for stepping inside the house that eats time with me. If this story sent a chill down your spine, or made you look twice at that dark window in your own neighborhood, go ahead and like this video. It really helps the channel grow and keep stories like this alive. Make sure to subscribe for more daily tales of the strange and the uncanny. And share this one with someone who loves a good midnight scare, or someone who needs a reminder to stay out of old houses that hum in the dark. Thanks for watching and listening. There's another story waiting for you, just there on your screen. Go on, click it. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Tick, tick, tick. The reflection room. You ever look into a mirror and feel like something's looking back? Not just your reflection. I mean, really looking like it knows something you don't. That's where this starts. My name's David. I'm just an ordinary guy, 35, a history teacher at the local high school in the quiet town of Crandall, Maine. You know the kind of place. One gas station, one diner, and the same faces you see every Sunday at church. I just moved into the old McCleary house on Pine Hollow Road, the one folks whisper about when they think no one's listening. Place had been empty for years, too cheap to pass up, and the realtor never mentioned the basement. The first time I saw it, I thought it was some kind of art project, a square room, paneled wall to wall and mirrors, even the ceiling. No windows, no furniture, just reflections of me in every direction. But then, I saw something impossible. My reflection smiled after I'd stopped. I told myself it was just bad lighting. Maybe a trick of the mind, shadows playing games. But that night, when I tried to sleep, I couldn't shake the feeling that something down there was awake, like the air itself was holding its breath. The next morning, I caught my reflection watching me again. Same smile, same tilt of the head, but this time, it winked. That's when I started keeping the basement door locked. And for a few days, life slipped back into its quiet rhythm, grading papers, small talk with students, coffee at Mel's Diner. But every night as I passed that door on my way to bed, I'd hear it, faint like a whisper coming from the other side. David, come look again. At first, I laughed it off, told myself it was stress, or maybe one of those optical illusions you read about online. But it kept happening. Sometimes the reflection would lag. Sometimes its eyes would follow me after I turned away. And sometimes, when I looked close enough, I could swear the reflection's mouth was moving, whispering something I couldn't quite hear. I tried to cover the mirrors with sheets. Next morning, sheets were gone. I called a handyman to help tear the mirrors out. He went down there once, came back pale, said there was another door down there, one that hadn't been there before. I didn't believe him until I saw it myself. A black door, no handle, just a faint outline pulsing like it was breathing. And from behind it, a voice that sounded like mine said, "Don't leave me here, David." That night, the dream started. In them, I was standing in that mirrored room. Only this time, the reflections didn't match me. Each one moved differently. One laughing, one crying, one staring straight into my eyes with something like hunger. And in every dream, the black door opened a little wider. By the third night, I couldn't sleep. The air in the house felt heavy, charged like before a storm. My lights would flicker, my phone would buzz with static, and sometimes I'd see movement in the mirrors upstairs. Just a flicker, a hand pulling back when I turned. I started avoiding the basement, stopped turning on the lights at night, but the house didn't like that. It wanted me there. One morning, I found muddy footprints leading from the basement door to my bed. Bare feet, my size. I went to the police, told them someone might be breaking in. They searched the house, found nothing. No signs of forced entry, no footprints. They looked at me like I'd wasted their time. That night, I set up a camera outside the basement door, just to prove I wasn't losing it. At 3:17 a.m., the door opened on its own. The camera caught me walking out of the basement. Only, I was still in bed upstairs, fast asleep. And on the recording, my reflection, or whatever it was, turned to the camera, smiled, and said, "Now it's your turn." The night it happened, the house felt alive. The walls seemed to pulse with every heartbeat. The floorboards creaked like something was moving underneath. I hadn't slept in days. My thoughts came in flashes, faces in the mirrors, laughter that wasn't mine, that damn voice whispering from behind the black door. I snapped, grabbed a hammer from the toolbox, stormed down the basement steps. The air thick and cold like walking into a freezer. The bulbs overhead flickered, and the smell of metal and dust filled my lungs. The room was waiting for me. The mirrors gleamed like still water, endless copies of me staring back, each with a slightly different expression, confusion, fear, rage. And then I noticed it. One of them wasn't moving. It stood perfectly still while the others mirrored my every breath. Its eyes glowed faintly, wet and dark. And when it smiled, God, it wasn't my smile. It was too wide, too knowing. I raised the hammer. The reflection raised one too, but it was faster, more certain. "Enough of this," I hissed, stepping closer. My breath fogged the mirror. "Who are you?" Its grin widened. "You already know." The hammer slipped from my sweaty grip and hit the floor with a sharp clang. The sound didn't echo. The reflection's hammer didn't fall. Instead, it lifted it higher, and then impossibly, it stepped forward. The glass rippled like water. My reflection walked through, droplets of light falling from its shoulders. Its skin shimmered like it was made of liquid silver. Before I could run, it grabbed me by the throat, my own hand, my own face staring inches from mine. Its voice was soft, intimate, like a lover's breath. "You've had your turn," it whispered. "Now it's mine." I gasped, tried to fight, but my body didn't respond. My vision fractured, 1,000 Davids screaming from every mirror, begging to switch places. The last thing I saw before everything went black was the reflection, my reflection, straightening its shirt, looking satisfied, and walking up the basement stairs. And then, nothing. Just darkness, and the faint sound of footsteps leaving me behind. When I woke up, everything was too bright, too still. My head throbbed, my mouth was dry, and when I blinked, I saw my own face staring back, not through a mirror, but from it. I was inside. The mirrored walls stretched around me like a cage of endless copies. Each reflection mimicked my panic, pounding on invisible glass. But only one of them, the one directly across from me, moved differently. He wasn't panicking, he was calm. My reflection, no, the thing that had taken my place, stood in the real room. He looked around, adjusting to the world that was now his. He touched the walls like someone testing the edges of a dream. Then he looked right at me and smiled. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My voice was trapped somewhere between the glass and my lungs. I hit the mirror until my hands ached, until streaks of blood marked the surface. He only tilted his head, studying me like a specimen in a jar. Then, from upstairs, the faint ring of my phone. He turned toward the sound, walked over, picked it up. I could just barely hear the muffled voice through the receiver, my mother. "Hey, honey," she said. "You sound tired." He chuckled in my voice. "Long day, Mom, just grading papers." She said something else. I couldn't make it out. But whatever it was, he laughed again. The same laugh I'd heard in the mirror 100 times. The laugh that wasn't really mine anymore. When he hung up, he looked back down at me. His smile faded into something cold, deliberate. He reached toward the light switch. "Don't," I mouthed. He flicked it off. The room plunged into darkness. For a moment, I could still see his outline, faint and ghostly through the black glass, before it dissolved into nothing. Now there's only me. My breath fogs the inside of the mirror, leaving pale handprints that fade as fast as I make them. Sometimes I think I hear footsteps above, laughter, the scrape of a chair, the sound of my life continuing without me. And sometimes, when I focus hard enough, I see faces flicker across the mirror. Curious faces, visitors, people who've come to look, and I wonder, which one of them will he choose next? They say the McCleary house is up for sale again. Fresh coat of paint, new shingles, the smell of lemon cleaner floating through the open windows. The ad online says it has unique charm and a newly renovated basement. I've seen the photos. I don't know how exactly, maybe through the glass, maybe through him. But I've seen them. The reflection room looks spotless now. No stains, no cracks, no trace of the man who once screamed from inside the mirrors. But if you look closely, if you zoom in just right, you can still see a faint handprint in the far corner of the glass. Mine. The realtor walks families through during open houses. She always skips over the basement, says it's just storage space. But sometimes late at night, when the tours are over and the house is dark, neighbors swear they see a flicker of light down there, like someone's walking through with a flashlight, or pacing. Sometimes kids dare each other to peek through the basement window. They don't last long. They come running out, pale and silent, saying there's a man inside the mirrors, waving, smiling. The new owners will move in soon. The cycle will start again. He'll be waiting. The reflection that wears my face, speaks with my voice, lives my life. He's learned how to blend in perfectly, goes to work, waves to the neighbors, calls my mother every Sunday. No one suspects a thing. But me, I'm still here, watching, waiting, hoping someone notices that the reflection isn't quite right, that when he looks into the mirror, his eyes move just a fraction too late. So if you ever find yourself in Crandall, Maine, and someone offers you a deal on a cozy house with character, maybe one with a mirror room in the basement, do yourself a favor, don't go in there. Because if you do, and your reflection smiles first, it might already be too late. Thank you for watching and listening. If you enjoyed the Reflection Room, please give this video a like. It really helps the channel grow and reach more listeners like you. Don't forget to subscribe for daily stories just like this one, and share it with someone who loves a good scare. There's another story waiting for you on the screen right now. Go ahead, click it. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Sweet dreams. Pumpkin Man. Ever wonder what's watching you when you walk home at night? I used to think it was just the wind, maybe a raccoon, maybe my imagination. But now I know better. I'm Eddie Warren, 41, manager of Warren's Hardware, the oldest shop in Millfield, Maine. The kind of town where the fog rolls in like a living thing, soft and white, wrapping around you until you can't tell where Main Street ends and the woods begin. Millfield's the kind of place that looks innocent in the daylight. But come October, when the air sharpens and the nights get long, you start to see things, shadows that seem to hold their breath, doorsteps that groan under invisible feet. That year, the harvest parade was all anyone could talk about. Every house had pumpkins lined up like soldiers, fat ones, skinny ones, carved grinning or grimacing. The town square was a sea of orange and candlelight. Folks painted smiles on their faces to match the jack-o'-lanterns. But there was one pumpkin, one man, that didn't belong. It started with the kids. They whispered about him first, said they'd seen a man out by the cornfield past Old Route 9, tall, dressed in rags, head like a rotting pumpkin, skin sagging, grin carved too deep like someone had tried to make it smile. We all laughed, because that's what you do when you're scared. You laugh. Then the Wilsons' dog vanished. Then the Henderson scarecrow went missing. And the next morning, something else stood in its place, taller, heavier. The head, God help me, the head looked fresh, wet. And that's when I started to feel it too. The eyes, watching me. Every night I locked up the shop. Every night the wind seemed to whisper my name, Eddie. By the fourth morning, I stopped pretending it was coincidence. I stayed up late at the shop, pretending to inventory nails and paint thinner. But really, I was watching the street through the glass, waiting. The town was dead quiet. No cars, no laughter, not even the crickets dared. Just that slow creak of the autumn wind pushing through the alley. At 2:17 a.m., I saw him, standing under the flickering streetlight across from the store, head glowing faintly from within. The grin, My God, that grin cut all the way to the jawline. He didn't move, just stood there, watching. I ran outside, flashlight in hand, shouting into the dark. "Who are you? What do you want?" But the street light flickered out, and when it came back on, he was gone. All that was left was another pumpkin, smaller this time, fresh, still slick with sap, carved with one word, confess. That night, I didn't go home. I slept behind the counter, clutching a hammer like it was a weapon. Every sound, every creak of the building felt like breath on my neck. By morning, I'd convinced myself to talk to Sheriff Daniels, old friend. We'd hunted frogs together as kids. He listened, nodded, and gave me that look, half pity, half concern. Told me I'd been working too hard, said he'd send a cruiser by my house just in case. But when I got home, the cruiser was already there, empty, engine still running. On my porch sat two pumpkins now, one carved with guilty, the other with tonight. And behind them, tracks, not footprints exactly, more like gouges, deep, dragging lines as if something heavy had been pulled through the soil. That's when I heard it again, faint, almost human. A rasping chuckle carried on the wind. The pumpkin man wasn't just coming, he was already here. And maybe, just maybe, he wasn't the monster after all. Maybe he was what happens when guilt rots too long inside a man. When a cruel laugh from 30 years ago finally claws its way out of the dirt to collect what's owed. I locked every door that night. But locks, I've learned, don't stop what you carve into existence. For a moment, there was nothing, just the wind moving through the corn like a whisper from the grave. I stood there, breath ragged, the knife shaking in my hand. My flashlight sputtered and died, plunging everything into blackness. Then came the sound, wet, slow, like something dragging itself closer through the mud. I spun around, and there he was, still standing. The pumpkin head was gone now, lying cracked open at his feet, but something worse had taken its place. The drifter's real face, burned, blistered, half bone. His eyes, God, those eyes, glowed from within, lit by the same infernal fire that had filled the pumpkin. "You think it ends with carving?" he hissed, his voice more smoke than sound. "You made me." I stumbled backward, tripping over a stump, the shotgun slipping from my grasp. "We were kids," I shouted. "It was just a joke." He leaned closer. His breath smelled of earth and ashes. Jokes have consequences, Eddie. I could see the corn behind him twisting, blackening, the stalks shriveling to ash as the fire inside him spread. The whole field seemed to breathe. One long, exhaling sigh of something ancient and angry. I grabbed the shotgun, fumbled with the safety, aimed at the burning thing that used to be a man. My finger trembled on the trigger. And then I saw them, faces forming in the smoke. The other two boys, my friends, the ones who'd helped me carve and laugh and burn. Their mouths open in silent screams. The drifter lifted his hands, palms out, and I saw that his skin was splitting, vines pushing through like veins, wrapping toward me. "You can't kill me," he said softly. "You can only join me." That was when I made my choice. I turned the barrel, not at him, but at the cracked pumpkin on the ground, the one I'd carved to make him whole again, and I pulled the trigger. The blast shattered the night, the air ignited in a flash of orange fire. I felt the heat wash over me, searing, cleansing. And for just a moment, before the light swallowed everything, I heard his voice again, whispering, grateful, carved right this time. Then silence. Sheriff Daniels came by that afternoon, squinting at the field like it was just another case file he wanted to close and forget. He said there was no sign of struggle, no footprints, no burned ground, just flattened stalks and ash that blew away when he touched it. "Probably kids," he muttered, trying to make the pieces fit a shape they never would. I didn't argue. I didn't tell him about the way the air still crackled, like static, or how the shadows in the corn seemed to bend around that blackened patch of soil. I just nodded, thanked him, and walked home. Millfield woke up the next day pretending the nightmare had passed. The missing dogs came back. The fences stopped being carved. Folks even smiled again, cautious but relieved. Halloween arrived, and for the first time in weeks, the town glowed bright again. Lanterns flickering, kids laughing, the scent of cinnamon and cider in the air. But I couldn't join in. Not after what I'd seen, what I'd done. Every night I dreamed of the drifter's face, half flame, half flesh. The whisper in the fire, carved right this time. I tried to bury the small pumpkin I'd found at the edge of the cornfield, but every morning it was back on my porch. Same place, Same perfect, unmarked skin. By the third day, I stopped trying to hide it. Set it on the counter at the hardware store like a trophy. Customers complimented it. Said it was the smoothest pumpkin they'd ever seen. You could almost see yourself in it, one woman said, laughing. I didn't laugh, because sometimes when I turned my head just right, I caught something inside that reflection, a faint glow, like embers trapped under glass, and behind my mirrored face, something else, a grin, wide and waiting. Sheriff Daniels came in last night buying nails, said he'd heard someone wandering near the fields again, a tall man, head down, moving slow. I told him it was nothing, wind, shadows, but deep down I know what it is. The pumpkins may be gone, the smell may have lifted, but Millfield's soil remembers, and somewhere out there beyond the corn and the cold, he's still watching. Now I keep the pumpkin on a workbench in the far corner of my garage, away from the windows, away from the light. It hasn't rotted, not once. The skin is still bright, smooth, flawless, like time itself decided to skip it. I've tried moving it, hiding it, even driving it miles out past the woods, but somehow it always finds its way back, always waiting for me. I don't sleep much these days. Every creak in the floorboards sounds like footsteps. Every flicker of orange from the streetlights makes my pulse quicken. Sometimes I swear I hear him whisper through the cracks in the door, just one word, stretched and soft like a knife sliding out of its sheath. Eddie. They say you can't bury guilt, that it grows roots, deep and hungry. I believe that now. Maybe that's what he was, what he is. A seed we planted in cruelty, fed with laughter and watered with regret until it came back to bloom in blood and fire. The others, those friends from back then, they don't talk to me anymore. Moved away, started over. But I wonder if they see him too. If each October, when the air sharpens and the pumpkins start appearing on doorsteps, they feel that same cold breath on the back of their necks. Because the Pumpkin Man doesn't just come for revenge. He comes to remind, to show us that every face we carve leaves a mark on something or someone that never forgets. So, if you're carving this Halloween, be gentle. And if the wind sounds like it's whispering your name, close your blinds and pray it's just the wind. If you enjoyed tonight's story, The Pumpkin Man, give this video a like. It really helps the channel grow and keeps the stories coming. Don't forget to hit subscribe for new horror tales every single day, and share this story with someone who loves a good Halloween scare. Thank you for listening and for watching. There's another story waiting for you right now. Just click the one glowing on your screen. I'll see you back here tomorrow night. Sleep tight and keep your porch light on. The Sleep Study. The next morning, they said I slept great, 8 solid hours. Only thing was, I remembered every second of it. I dreamed of that hallway again. Endless. Fluorescent lights flickering overhead like the pulse of some dying god. Doors on either side, each one numbered, and behind them something breathing. Slow, wet, patient. The doctors called it normal REM activity. But I knew what I felt wasn't a dream, and when I snuck a look at the security footage from my room, yeah, I wasn't supposed to. I saw myself sit up in bed around 3-7 a.m., eyes open, smiling, talking to someone who wasn't there. Each night after that, the study got darker, the sedation heavier. I'd wake with bruises on my wrists like someone had held me down. Once I tasted copper, metallic and thick, and found a smear of blood on my pillow. They said I'd bitten my tongue in my sleep. The next morning, I found a note under my pillow, just a scrap of paper, shaky handwriting that wasn't mine. Don't fall asleep again. I asked the nurses who came in and out of my room if anyone had been there overnight. They smiled that same two-eyed smile. You were safe, Mr. Ward. We monitored everything. But their eyes said otherwise. By the 4th night, I demanded to leave. Dr. Hanley folded his hands and said, "You signed a consent form. Leaving now would compromise our data." I told him to keep his damn data. I wasn't going to be his lab rat. He just tilted his head, almost pitying. "You already are," he said. That night, I fought the sedative, tried to stay awake. I pinched myself, dug my nails into my skin until I drew blood. But the drug was stronger. And when my vision blurred, I saw something move in the corner of the room. A shape. Tall, thin, draped in shadow, standing beside the monitor. It leaned close, and in the buzz of the machines, I heard that same whisper from the first night. "Welcome back, David." Then the lights went out, and I was back in the hallway again. This time, All the doors were open. The next morning, they said I slept great, 8 solid hours. Only thing was, I remembered every second of it. I dreamed of a hallway, endless, fluorescent lights flickering overhead, doors on either side, each one marked with a number, and behind them something breathing. The doctors said it was normal REM activity, but I knew what I felt wasn't a dream. And when I looked at the security footage from my room, yeah, I peeked. I saw myself sit up in bed around 3:07 a.m., eyes open, smiling, talking to someone who wasn't there. Each night after, things got worse. I'd wake with scratches on my arms, a metallic taste in my mouth. One morning, I found a note tucked under my pillow in handwriting that wasn't mine. Don't fall asleep again. I tried to leave. They wouldn't let me. They said walking out mid-study would invalidate the results. But I didn't care about results. I just wanted out. The front doors were locked. The receptionist smiled like she'd been waiting for me to try. Dr. Hanley appeared behind her, calm as ice. David, he said, you're in no condition to leave. You haven't even reached Delta phase. Delta phase, whatever that meant. He had 2 orderlies with him, big guys, silent. One of them reached for my shoulder, and I swear for a second his hand shimmered, like heat rising off asphalt. I backed away. You're drugging me, I said. You're putting things in the sedative. Hanley just smiled. We're only unlocking what's already inside you. That night, I tried to fight the sleep again, but the vents whispered. I could hear the hum of the machine syncing with my pulse. The sedative crawled through my veins, heavy as concrete. I was back in the hallway, but now one of the doors was open. Light poured through it, pale, cold, moving like water. Something stepped out. It had my face, my voice, my smile. And when I woke, there was blood on the floor beside my bed. Not mine. I checked the security footage again. My room was empty. But the camera caught me walking down the hall at 3:07 a.m. And right behind me, something followed. The final night, they strapped me in tighter. Extra sensors, more machines, said they were close to a breakthrough. They moved around me like shadows, their voices clipped and hushed. Dr. Hanley's eyes glittered behind his glasses. We've almost reached Delta phase, he said, his tone trembling, not with excitement, but fear. The sedative burned this time, thicker, colder. I felt it coil through my veins like liquid ice. Around midnight, the hum of the machines deepened, a low mechanical growl vibrating the bed frame. And then, that pull again, the space between awake and asleep, between here and there. The hallway waited for me, endless, pulsing with that pale, sourceless light. But this time, I wasn't alone. Rows of people in hospital gowns lined the corridor, dozens, maybe hundreds, motionless, their heads tilted at the same unnatural angle. Their eyes were white. Their mouths moved in eerie rhythm, whispering the same phrase over and over. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The sound grew until it became a single roar, a hurricane of voices clawing through my skull. I clamped my hands over my ears, but it didn't stop, because it wasn't sound. It was inside me. Then one of them stepped forward and I froze. It was me. Same face, same scar on the chin, but hollow, drained, gray, like something that had been used too many times. He smiled, slow and wrong. You're not the one who woke up? This, he whispered. I stumbled back, but the floor pulsed beneath me, alive and breathing. Behind him, the others began to move, jerking, shuffling, reaching out like puppets cut from their strings. I screamed for Hanley, for anyone, but the hallway didn't have walls anymore, just like swallowing everything. The other me reached forward, pressing his cold palm against my chest. In that instant, I felt something tear, deep, invisible, as if he was peeling me out of myself. The monitors in the real world flatlined, the lights shattered, and the last thing I saw before everything went black was my own body sitting up in the lab bed, smiling and opening its eyes. When I opened my eyes, I was home, my own bed, phone on the nightstand. Morning light bled through the curtains, soft, ordinary, almost kind. For a moment, I let myself believe it was over. The study, the machines, the whispers, just a bad trip in a sterile room somewhere far away. Then I noticed the bandage on my arm, a puncture mark beneath it. And when I peeled it back, that number, 47, stamped into my skin like a burn. My phone buzzed, one new voicemail. A woman's voice, calm, controlled, like reading from a script. Thank you for completing your participation. We'll be in touch for follow-up testing. Please avoid sleep until then. Avoid sleep until then. I called the number back. It went straight to static. No listing for Somnus research anywhere online. The address I'd driven to before, gone. Replaced by an empty lot with weeds crawling up the chain link fence. I checked my reflection in the mirror. Same face, same tired eyes. But when I leaned closer, something flickered in my pupils. A faint shimmer, like heat off a road. And behind my own reflection, just for a split second, I saw someone else watching. That night, I tried to stay awake. Coffee, cold showers, music blasting through my headphones. Didn't matter. My eyelids kept getting heavier, my mind slipping into static. Every time I blinked, I saw the hallway again. Doors breathing in and out, and behind one something waiting. Around 3:07 a.m., I caught myself talking, whispering into the dark. I didn't even realize until the words left my mouth. I told you not to fall asleep again. The voice wasn't mine, but it came from my throat. Panic surged. I stumbled toward the bathroom, flicked on the light, and froze. In the mirror, my reflection smiled before I did. Its lips moved just a heartbeat ahead of mine. Then it whispered, "Delta phase complete." The lights flickered, the world tilted, and I understood I hadn't woken up. I was still in the hallway, and the thing wearing my face had gone home 2 nights ago. I haven't slept since. Every time I close my eyes, I see that hallway, flickering lights, breathing doors, and that hum like blood moving through wires. And behind door 47, something's waiting. The first day, I told myself I could fight it. Stay awake long enough, drink enough coffee, keep the lights on, I'd beat it. But the body has limits. The mind cracks first. Now I catch glimpses, reflections that move before I do. Voices whispering in my own tone, just out of sync. I think the thing that took my place, the one sitting in that clinic bed, is dreaming me now. Maybe I'm the leftover part, the echo, drifting between worlds like a signal with no receiver. I used to believe sleep was harmless, a place where you rest, recover. Now I know better. Sleep isn't rest, it's surrender. It's a door, and doors work both ways. My hands shake when I write this. Every few minutes, the lights flicker, and for an instant, I see that hallway again superimposed over my apartment. Doorways where walls should be, numbers burned faintly into the air. I can hear the whispering now, clearer than ever. Hundreds of voices, maybe thousands, all chanting the same thing. Wake up. But what if I already did? What if this isn't the waking world anymore? I don't know what's real. I just know the pull is getting stronger. I can feel sleep creeping up behind my eyes like a shadow with hands. Soon, I'll have to give in. And when I do, if I don't wake up as me, I hope whatever comes back pretends well enough to fool the rest of you. So, if you're hearing this, do yourself a favor. When you go to bed tonight and your room feels a little too quiet, listen closely. If you hear breathing that isn't yours, don't open your eyes. If you enjoyed the sleep study, give this video a like. It really helps the channel grow and reach more listeners who love a good scare. Be sure to subscribe for new horror stories every day and share this one with someone who won't sleep easy tonight. Thanks for watching and listening. There's another story recommended right now on your screen. I'll see you back here tomorrow night if I wake up.